you're going to have people that say, man, you changed. Well, damn, I hope so, because we're supposed to evolve.
That's right. Welcome, family, to the Bacon Bitz podcast, where we desire for you to take the bits of information and immediately apply them to your life for success. The ground rules for our podcast is that it will always, and I do mean always, be encouraging, uplifting, and informative. The areas of life that we will be talking about on the Bacon Bitz podcast is dealing with having a balanced life. I need to hear you say it out loud, please. Say valuable. Information. Applied. Equals success. And that little sweet whispering of a voice is my queen, my love of my life, Miss Diana Acosta Bacon. My love.
What's up, baby cakes?
How are you, boo?
I'm good. I'm hanging out with you, so all is well.
Hey. So we are going to be talking about the last chapter of the wonderful book that we have been going over, which is Healthy Relationships, a workbook through the lens of faith. And we talk about relationships pertaining to friendships, spouses, parents, neighbors, co-workers. Man, come on, anybody and everybody, because ladies and gentlemen, we have to have healthy relationships. We've got to have them. If you know that 80 to 90% of your life is going to be dealing with people, we have got to learn how to communicate and have relationships. So what we're going to be talking about today is being authentic. Being authentic. And I want to start with a scripture verse which reads, "He who walks with integrity walks securely, but he who perverts his ways will become known." That's Proverbs chapter 10 and verse 9. When what we say and what we do equal up consistently. Beautiful. Being someone genuine, authentic, and without hypocrisy. Not perfect, because none of us are perfect, but honestly authentic. All relationships are impossible without integrity. My God. Speak on that, my love.
Well, I think being authentic, man, I think it's really hard for a lot of people to even define what that even means, right? Because we're different people to different people. Who I am with you is different than who I am with my friends. Is different than who I am with my grandchildren. Is different than who I am with my employees and employers, I should say. And when I'm at work or whether I'm with my friends, I'm not the same person than when I'm with my family. And also when you have to be a leader, sometimes people who are leaders, they lead differently at work than they would at home, right? People go into church and school. And I don't hate a lot of things, but I do hate that so many people without even thinking say, I take my child to church so they know how to act. They're learning how to act. They learn how to act in school. In other words, you're telling them how to shut down and how to conform to things. That's not what we want. We want them to enrich their life. Ideally, school and church would enrich their life and teach them healthy ways to communicate and be in relationship and socialize, but not how to act. You know, we grow up imitating others' behaviors or their style until we discover our own. That's why babies repeat like little parrots everything that we say, and sometimes it gets a lot of us in trouble because they say some stuff. So you got to watch out. You want to know about how somebody feels about you, see how their kid acts around you, because they mimic everything. So is anyone truly authentic if we're always trying to appease people's feelings? What does that look like? Are we being authentic? Because this world is always trying to corner us into being something we're not, to satisfy someone we don't even like.
That's a huge one right there, honey. Expound.
Well, I think we have to identify, are we most authentic to ourselves? Are we worried about, I know some of us, all of us can relate to I don't say things I want to say. I don't do things I want to do because it's gonna rock the boat. It's gonna upset some people. So now we're not being authentic to ourselves, and we're definitely not being authentic to them because we are silencing ourselves and we're dimming. And man, that's like the worst feeling. And you don't want to go somewhere where you're not being celebrated, where you can't be yourself and you can't be authentic. So it's really quite a challenge to even define if you're being authentic, right? In Romans 12:2, it says, I beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you would present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God, which is your reasonable service. Verse 2, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is good and acceptable and the perfect will of God.
Man, that's a huge one. I love that. Be not conformed to the world, because man, if you are trying to be conformed to somebody's image or ideal of who you are supposed to be, you can never be the authentic version of you. And I don't know who originally said this, but I will never stop saying it. Go where you can be celebrated and not just tolerated. Go where your gifts will excel and not just you're there just for a paycheck. Get the chance to be the authentic you and being the best version of you, which in turn allows and gives other people permission around you to be their best selves, because you are being your authentic self. And people can truly see when you are being your authentic self.
I once heard someone say, you can't have real friends with fake people. And that's true. But if that's the case, wouldn't that also mean that we're also fake? Right? We love saying, man, I love that, man. They keep it real, man. They're 100. They keep it straight. But what does that even mean? How do you keep it real? How do you stay honest with who we are and not be tossed around by our ever-changing emotions, right? Well, the answer to that is always remembering our identity, because that's the only thing that's going to help us maintain our integrity.
Yeah, because we just can't go off of our feelings and emotions, man. Oh my God. So a big theme for me in this wonderful year of 2023 is principles equal progress and feelings equal failure. Not that all feelings will allow you to fail, but if you are led constantly by your feelings, you are going to fail, because our feelings are all over the place. But when we truly understand our identity and our core values of who we are as a person, and we lean into those things, which would be your principles, you will always see progress. You will always see progress. I always use the illustration all the time, and I just love it. I don't give a care how many times I get on the ground to do some push-ups, and I can constantly tell myself I do not feel like doing these push-ups. I can literally feel like not doing the push-ups, but if I do the push-ups, I will still get results whether I felt like it or not, because I'm actually doing the work and not having to feel what the work is. So part of being authentic is, man, truly being true to your goals, your identity, and your values. And I'm always big on this one. God gives us guidance to help us live with integrity. He gives us that, man. We are designed like that. When we are true to ourselves, the integrity will be there.
Yeah. So, you know what? Let's talk about a few ways that we can identify if we're being an authentic person.
Yes.
Right? So, number one, definitely character above reputation.
Yeah.
Character above reputation. So being able to embrace your shadows, right? That inner critic that we have, recognizing it, understanding it, and not be swayed to and from every time your emotions, when someone's talking, getting offended. You're not easily offended. You're not, you're not easily provoked. You recognize those inner critics inside you. And you also stop dismissing yourself, and you stop dimming.
Yeah.
Like stop dimming. Character above reputation.
Yeah.
Number one.
That's something I love it, because the Lord always says, let your light so shine before men that they see your good works and glorify God. Notice that the people are seeing your good works, which means that they see your light. That means Light doesn't go somewhere and hide itself. When light turns itself on, it's going to illuminate and brighten up the place that it's at. So our job is never to go somewhere and dumb ourselves down. We are supposed to go and let our gifts shine. Let it shine. Let the love that we have of God shine in our lives. And that part of that is being authentic to yourself so you can, like, beautifully, man, and I mean beautifully, live your best life.
Yeah, no dimming down. Number 2, knowing your value. You no longer have to seek outside validation. You're not people pleasing. And I'm going to tell you something that's really hard for all of us to deal with is let people have their opinions. That's hard.
Yeah.
Let people have their opinions, letting our children have their opinion of what they believe the truth was growing up and some of the things that they found traumatic and some of the ways we tried our best. Letting them have their own feelings is hard, but to not be affected by it. Being able to love yourself without harming others because you know your value. It's knowing your value also means that you know the value of others.
Yeah. And that's one thing that's beautiful when people finally get this, that, you know, if I walked in the room and I'm walking in the room with Denzel or Brad Pitt and some other people, you might think that's handsome. And we standing next to each other and I say, man, I am so handsome.
And you are.
Thank you, darling. That's not putting the other people down. It's just knowing the value of who I am. But if I have to say I look better than, then we have an issue. We got to understand that if you know your value anywhere you go, the value of that place actually goes up. That's something I really wish we understood, that when you go somewhere, when your feet touch that property and you are on that premise, the value of that place went up when you arrived. And notice, you ain't had to put nobody else down to make yourself feel good. You just know that God placed you on this planet for a reason, and I'm going to walk in that purpose to live my best life.
And it honestly has nothing. Yes, you are handsome, but it has nothing to do with what we look like.
That's right.
Or how we dress.
That's right.
Or what we carry,
Mm-hmm.
or what abilities we have,
Mm-hmm.
or what talents we were able to use in our world, or
baby.
And amount of money or social it has nothing to do with any of that.
Come on.
If I did nothing else for the rest of my life, I lose no value with God. I am still wonderfully and fearfully made.
Ooh.
And I am more precious than all the rubies and diamonds in this world.
Yes. And that's the beauty of called human beings. You're supposed to just be the best you there is. Just be, man. You ain't gotta earn it. You ain't gotta learn it. All you gotta do is just be the authentic version of yourself that you need to be.
Number 3, be accountable. Accept when you're wrong. We know when we harm somebody. We know when we've done something wrong, we crossed the line. And respond, not react, respond accordingly. Apologize when it's your turn to apologize. You got to humble yourself. Pride comes before the fall. You have no image to maintain. Be humble, be yourself, but be accountable.
Yeah. Being accountable to justify your actions and decisions and your responsibilities. That's a big one. When you're able to say, why are you doing what you're doing? Being able to articulate that to people, not just because I want something always for myself, but you're justifying your actions. You're being able to articulate what your actions are. You're being accountable to the people that you're around when you're making your decisions.
Mm-hmm. Number 4, this is an easy one, and everybody has said it. Talk the talk, walk the walk.
Mm-hmm.
We all cringe at hypocrites. And the worst cringe is when we're the hypocrite.
Yeah.
Practice what you preach. Yeah. Number 4, practice what you preach.
Yeah, that was a big one. I'll never forget it as long as I live. My mom's doctor telling her not to smoke. Every time she came to an appointment, he would always tell her not to smoke. And my mom just happened to one time come to an appointment 15 minutes early, and when she got there, the doctor that told her that was smoking. From that time on, she had to even get a new doctor because she couldn't even take any words from him, because she always kept hearing him say, don't smoke. And the time that she got there early, he happened to be smoking. So that was a huge one always for me. That's one story I'll never forget, because there's nothing like you not practicing what you preach. I mean, I always tell people, man, it feels so good when your thoughts and your mouth and your heart and everything lines up. That is one of the most phenomenal feelings in the world, because you know you are being authentic to your true self.
Amen. Number 5. And we're talking about being an authentic person. Number 5, being able to walk away from people or things that no longer serve you or nourish you and are not aligned with who you are or who you're trying to become.
Come on here.
Love you. Bye.
That is definitely a great one, because the people who I used to hang out with when I first came to Tucson, I have literally none of those people besides my best friend, whom I moved here with from Michigan, is the only person that's in my life from those days, because that was, going to the strip club days, going to the bar days, the clubs, all that foolishness that I was doing. And none of those people are in my life now because they served no purpose. I went back a year later to see the people that I used to hang out with, and they were still doing the same thing. When you're trying to grow and you're trying to elevate yourself to the next level, a lot of times the people that you hang out with will not want to elevate themselves with you. Now, that's the beauty of having your squad, having your team of people around you that that guess what, we are all striving to be the best that we can be, and we provoke each other to go to another level. We want to see each other rise and be awesome in whatever it is that we're doing. But we have got to get around people that will call us on our stuff and call us, like I love what my baby says, this call us up. I'm going to call you out. I'm going to try my best to call you out. And the reason why is I want to call out the greatness that's in you. But in the process of me calling you out, I want to call you up to a whole nother level of what we know you have the potential to be. And you do too. You just need that boost from somebody else that's going to help you be the most truest, authentic version of yourself.
Now, be warned, in the process of cleansing your space, you're going to have people that say, man, you changed. Well, damn, I hope so, because we're supposed to evolve.
That's right.
I'm supposed to change. I'm not a chair. I'm supposed to evolve. I'm supposed to grow. I'm supposed to learn. And I'm supposed to continue and thrive in my life. If you're not celebrating that, if you're not part of that, then I have to remove you from my life, because you're just dead weight. It's just, love you. Bye. I'm leaving because I love you, and I don't want to make this relationship ugly. So therefore, I need to just move forward. Yeah. And I don't have to make it ugly. I don't have to tell you ain't no good and you ain't no good for me. It's just moving forward. You're working in a drug and alcohol rehab. Hello. Yeah. They're giving you ways to start making better choices for your life. Yes. But not everyone is for you. And not everybody is meant to be a lifer in your life, in your chapter. Yeah. Some are just seasonal. Some are there just to be in that same space you are, to maybe learn from, or maybe you're supposed to teach them something. But if they're not nourishing you, if they're not serving you, and I don't mean in serving you like they're giving you pedicures. Come on now. If they're not aligned with who you are or who you're trying to become, love you, bye. Yeah. Move on.
And that's huge, because if we just think about it in the school sense, you was in the first grade with that first grade teacher, you got what you needed. Guess what? Next year, second grade. And the year after that, third grade. So you always were in a consistent state of change. And that's the only thing that we can say, for instance, in life, is the one thing that's going to be always in your life is change. You're always going to be developing, hopefully growing, to be doing bigger and better things. And bigger and better things always necessarily mean more money, bigger house, all that stuff. The fact that you're becoming a bigger and better version of yourself, a more authentic version. You're doing the homework that needs to be done so you can see the fullness of who you are as a human being.
And number 6, encourage rather than criticize. Being an authentic person isn't going around criticizing other people. It's encouraging them to be their authentic self. You're not a gossiper. It's being able to talk about a problem or a conflict without complaining, blaming, gossiping, or victimizing.
One thing I love telling people is always give words of encouragement. Man, this is the thing I want people to get out of their lives in this new year is make sure if you see something and see someone do something nice, please don't just think to yourself, man, that was a nice gesture that person did. That was an awesome job they did in this. Man, they cooked a good meal. Man, I love the way they rose garden is. Man, I love how they brought the other kids in to participate with them. Man, when we see this stuff, words of encouragement are huge. So it's not just seeing something awesome, it's saying something awesome about what you've seen. Because you authentically said to yourself, that was a nice gesture of what that person did. Now we've got to get to the point where we verbally say it out loud, because words of encouragement are so huge as a love language.
Okay, so just to reflect, the 6 things to being an authentic person: character above reputation, knowing your value, being accountable, practice what you preach, being able to walk away, and encouraging over criticizing. Now here's a caveat. Here's a hard truth. What if your authentic self sucks? What if you're just selfish and rude, untrustworthy, irresponsible, arrogant, refuse to be accountable? You don't play well with others, you don't work well with others, you're not part of the team, and you refuse to change because you think you're being authentic. It's time to call yourself up. Stop making excuses why you cannot improve your life, your choices, and build up your character, because you can.
Great as always. Great. And it's just so beautiful to see, man, because a lot of times our outside behavior or the tip of the iceberg, as we'll say, is more than just the behavior that you see on the outside. I think people have really got to get that. The behaviors that we have a lot of times are way deeper than just the behavior that we see somebody. So what are some things, as we call it, the iceberg effect, that people have underneath the behaviors?
So the iceberg effect, so many of us have heard about it. We've seen it. You can go to Google and just look up the iceberg effect. It's what you see on the top of the water is just a behavior, for instance. So what you see under the water is the real problem. So we talk about the layers of it, and the very floor, the ground level would be our self, right? Mm-hmm. Our self. And then right above that would be our yearnings. What are we desiring? And then what are our values? What are expectations? Our feelings turn into our thoughts. And then above water, all you see is a behavior. So if we need to change our behavior because we're rude and we're unaccountable, we don't play well with others, it's time to call yourself up and start taking a step back. Well, what are my thoughts? What am I thinking about? Well, I'm thinking about that I'm the victim. I'm blaming everybody else. You know, you want to know what it takes to be an adult? People say, well, how do you know when you're an adult? How do you know when I'm grown up? You're grown up when you stop blaming your parents and blaming everybody else for your behavior. Take a step back. You don't like your behavior? What am I thinking about? Well, if the things you're thinking about are the blame game, and you're just a victim and you're just complaining, take a step back. What am I feeling? I'm feeling like a victim. I'm feeling like they're to blame. Maybe you need to do some work. And what are some of your expectations? Because so many relationships are doomed to fail because we're unwilling to be real about what we expected in the first place. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right? That goes back to our expectations and our values. What are we desiring? The one thing that everyone desires, no matter where I go in this world, and I've had the beautiful pleasure of being in, 7 different countries and traveling the States. And you know the one thing that holds true everywhere I've gone? People want to love and be loved.
Yes.
That's it.
We constantly can remember that. The greatest commandment is to love God with all of our heart, mind, body, and soul, and to love others as we love ourselves. And that's the 2 ingredients you always going to know about every individual that's on this planet. They want to be loved and they want to love. And if we can constantly keep that loving people for who they are and not for what we want them to be, I think is extremely important, man. Guess what? We can't change nobody's behavior. We can only control us. 100% of how we respond in life is according to us, how we respond. Nobody can control you. Nobody can make you do anything. We are 100% responsible for the choices that we make. So we have got to get to the point of, guess what? Be willing to see people for who they are in the first place, not what we want them to be.
Love them for who they are.
Yeah.
Or remove yourself from them because it's not fair.
Yeah,
we don't want people to judge us.
Yeah. Well, a lot of relationships are doomed to fail because we're unwilling to be real about what we expect in the first place. A lot of people don't set boundaries at the beginning of relationships. And that's why we have to be very careful in the process of, man, what do I really want from this relationship? What's the best scenario for this relationship? Because if you don't go into the relationship with no expectations, whatever will be. And you have to be cool with just that very thing of what it is. It is what it is. But if you go in there with some expectations, what is it that we desire to get from this relationship?
Real lasting change only occurs when we go deep into our foundation of our identity.
Yes.
No bartering, no faking,
Yeah.
no acting, just sincere honesty. Until we do our work, we're failing ourselves in being authentic.
Amen. We love you guys. Thank you so much for the Bacon Bitz podcast. Hope to see you and hear from you, and I hope you hear from us next week. God bless. All right, what's up, family? It's your boy John Bacon from the Bacon Bitz podcast. Thank you so much for your support, likes, and ratings. Please don't just listen, but rate me, follow me, and subscribe. This is an amazing way to offer free support. My beautiful queen and I have some books that we have written for your growth.
So the first book we have is a workbook, actually. It's called Healthy Relationships, and this is a workbook through the lens of faith. Because what makes a relationship healthy or unhealthy? So this workbook is designed, it's a 12-week, it's a biblically grounded course, and every week has a few different principles. So some of our principles, some of our topics that we're covering are respect, cultivating security. And this is not just between a husband and wife. This is between parents, between siblings, between friends, between your bosses, employers. So it's really important, and everyone deserves a healthy relationship.
And also we have The Balanced Life by John Bacon. It covers how to be prosperous in your finances, relationships, your health, your mind, and your spirit. And we also have
The Unraveling, a creative healing journal, pinings, poems, prayers, and ponderings of my precarious life. I've had a testimony of I've had 2 brain tumors and 2 brain surgeries, and I'm super grateful, but I'm still grieving the process of healing. And this is part of the process. In this book, you have devotionals, you have prayers, and you have some ponderings. And in between these pages, there's a space for you to also be prompted to paint and to create your own, or maybe you want to write something in these books. This is part of your creative healing journal that we get to walk through together.
And you guys can just head over to Kingdom Servants First. Kingdom Servants, the number 1, st.com. And you can purchase all 3 of these books. Thank you for your support, your love, and your contributions. God bless.